This webinar is intended to introduce listeners to effective, active learning and gaming strategies in the library classroom, including virtual escape rooms, games, and interactivity to engage students in the research learning process. First, a bit about myself. My name is Emily. I'm a reference specialist at Northern Virginia Community College Library and a Master of Library and Information Science student in my final semester at Valdosta State University, where I focused on academic librarianship and instruction. I am greatly looking forward to sharing my research with all of you. During this webinar, we will cover active learning in the library classroom, the importance of information literacy skills, virtual escape rooms, low-tech classroom games, and digital classroom games. Instruction librarians, other academic librarians interested in pursuing instruction, and public librarians who teach research skills classes are the intended audience. Also, library science students would likely benefit from this presentation. Active learning can take many shapes and forms. This can include low-tech, team-based games, digital computer games, virtual escape rooms, problem-solving activities, and simple conversation participation with the entire group. While there will always be a time and place for traditional lectures in the academic world, incorporating activities and games engage students in lessons, encouraging their participation, and ultimately establishing a potentially greater retention of information gathered in class. Maybe, Doan, and Fleurel emphasize that adopting active learning approaches in higher education has been shown to be beneficial to student learning and engagement in various disciplines. Associated with the educational theory of constructivism, active learning may support using current knowledge to construct new knowledge in a self-aware, metacognitive way. The new framework for information literacy for higher education emphasizes the relationship between using information and the creation of new knowledge. Monroe discusses problem-based learning, or PBL, another form of active learning. The author provides this advice to librarians. Approach the class not as a presentation of information, but as an active, cooperative research session, mimicking the actual research that students will do for their class. PBL mimics the activities of real-life practitioners in a field by requiring students to work in groups to develop solutions for complex, open-ended research questions. The approach encourages students' intellectual independence and engagement and provides more opportunities for active learning than the traditional lecture format. A modified PBL approach, including group work, hands-on problem solving, and simulation of real-life practice, can be used to good advantage in any library classroom. Now let's discuss what information literacy is and why it is important. The Association of College and Research Libraries defines the term information literacy, or IL, as the set of integrated abilities encompassing the reflective discovery of information, the understanding of how information is produced and valued, and the use of information in creating new knowledge and participating ethically in communities of learning. Information literacy skills are crucial in learning how to properly use the library. Becoming informationally literate can be likened to a child learning to read in grade school. In the modern age, where information is abundant, being informationally literate is of the utmost importance to a student's educational career as much as it is to their life outside of school. People with strong IL skills are more likely to properly analyze information, identify reliable sources, and recognize bias in their quest to determine real versus fake news. Librarians can instill these skills in their students through information literacy instruction classes. Maybe, Doan, and Fleerl state that placing information literacy education in the disciplinary classroom would address calls to teach students to use information within the context of learning about a subject, an approach considered more likely to prepare learners for future endeavors. Having strong skills in research can be applied to work in any academic discipline. It can also be useful for research in health and wellness, home buying, financial planning, traveling, independent language learning, and so much more. Thus, teaching these skills in a way that improves enjoyment and retainability of the information presented is beneficial to all academic subjects and the success of college students altogether. Now let's begin by taking a look at virtual escape rooms in libraries. I have focused on my own personal experience in creating virtual escape rooms at Northern Virginia Community College, alongside my coworker, Michael English, an instruction librarian at the college. During the pandemic, when classes were forced to move off campus to an online learning atmosphere with unprecedented haste, Northern Virginia Community College librarians could not maintain the same level of connection with students as we had when operations were primarily campus-based. This disconnected feeling inspired us to create the Virtual Library Escape Room Challenge. We hoped to rekindle the familiarity of interacting with students while also bringing their attention to library services provided in the remote atmosphere. Initially, we gained some ideas from the Peters Township Public Library's Harry Potter-themed escape room, which had become very popular. Then we decided to incorporate instructional aspects to the escape room, which introduced students to library services on the website. Ultimately, we decided on a ghost theme. This allowed us to choose a new ghost of a famous person haunting the library from the state of Virginia each semester. The students would have to guess their identity in order to free the ghost and win the escape challenge. Upon completion of the challenge, students would be entered for a chance to win a gift card prize to the campus bookstore. The escape room was created using Google Forms. Students finished the escape room by answering questions and solving puzzles such as these cryptograms. Assessment of library programming is essential to improvement of services. Kaiser states that academic libraries could capitalize on contact information collected during gaming events, targeting these individuals about information and resources specific to their studies. A brief survey might reveal that these events are important to the student's overall college experience, such as helping them make friends they might not have otherwise encountered. In the following slides, I have included the results of our first escape room from fall of 2020 and our most recent one from spring of 2022. After completion of the challenge, students were asked to complete a brief survey sharing their thoughts on the experience. Participation numbers doubled, and significant improvements with the enjoyment of the game are shown in the survey results. However, comments about the length of the game remain about the same. Another college library at Stony Brook University presented a similar virtual escape room challenge. Their results were likewise very popular. They said that this experience revealed the value in academic research libraries investing more resources into designing interactive gameplay experiences. Librarians and staff found it a rewarding experience, and they learned the skill sets these games require. creativity, adaptability, and collaboration across all departments. Moving on to low-tech games. First, I would like to introduce the Information Lifecycle team-based game created by Michael English from Northern Virginia Community College. There are 3 different themes for this game. First is the Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami. Second, the Standing Rock protests. And third is Hurricane Maria. Students are divided into 6 groups. They are then to determine the reliability and any potential bias of sources by placing a set of laminated cards representing source types onto different sections of the whiteboard. For example, source types include tweets, newspapers, magazines, academic journals, and books. The interactivity of this classroom game helps to solidify information taught in class. Students and professors have reported positive reviews of the activity. Maybe Doan and Fleerl discuss active learning pedagogies, such as problem-based learning, which involve students working in teams to gather and use information to inform solutions to complex problems, have been shown to enhance learners' abilities to information. The next set of low-tech games I would like to introduce comes from the Mississippi State University Libraries. They decided to design activities based on the ACRL framework for information literacy for higher education. Each activity focuses on one individual frame, and each involves a different sports theme. For example, golf was used to incorporate the authority is constructed and contextual frame, and baseball was used for the information creation as a process frame. By introducing skills during one class session and then using those skills in a game the following week, students scaffolded their information literacy learning through fun and educational activities. Student evaluations for the course were overwhelmingly positive. Finally, I would like to introduce digital gaming and library instruction classes. Martin and Ewing suggest that millennial students must be engaged to retain information. These students expect entertainment, engagement, and variety in their learning. They go on to explain that digital games motivate players to learn new skills and tasks because the medium aims to make the activity fun and entertaining. Entertaining tasks tend to relax and motivate people, preparing them to learn. Any type of learning takes effort, but it is students' perception of tasks that makes the difference. Why do some consider an activity work while others find it enjoyable? It is because the latter group is engaged. If individuals are engaged, they are actively involved in their learning and seek greater educational collaboration with their peers. Students must be engaged in an activity before learning can begin. The first digital library game example is called Goblin Threat by Lycoming College. This colorful interactive game has the user finding plagiarism goblins around campus in order to save its academic integrity. With each goblin found, the player is asked a trivia question about plagiarism. Moving through the 7 total rooms of the game, this activity is a fun and engaging way to teach information literacy skills. The next digital game to be explored is called Identifying Primary and Secondary Sources by Factile. This is a Jeopardy-style activity. The players are separated into teams who choose a mascot, such as a potato, a watermelon, or an onion. They then choose a category and answer questions determining whether or not the described source is primary or secondary. This game is a fun and easy way to teach students how to recognize source types. Prizes for the winning team can be provided as an added incentive. Games are typically associated with fun and relaxation. Bringing games into the classroom, where many feel stress and tension, can alleviate these negative feelings and begin to instill a love of learning while students retain more of what they learn through engagement and activities. Gamification can add an extra level of motivation and incentive to many higher education activities. Games encourage us to improve our performance by providing immediate and detailed feedback and systematically guiding us with all the necessary information for progress. Academic libraries can use the move towards gamification in higher education as a way to promote their collections and further engage and motivate students to learn more about library resources and services. Provided below are my sources. Thank you for taking the time to watch this webinar, and feel free to contact me with any questions or advice for future sessions.